The city of Lubbock about to enact the new budget for the fiscal year 2018-19. You're going to see a 1 penny increase in your taxes, and a lot of that is going to go to, I guess, gearing up for the new police headquarters, which are not too far down the road. And we have Mayor Pope in studio, and let's talk a little bit about facilities. Mayor, this is a good time to do it.
It's a great time. Let me make one correction. All of that penny will go to police facilities.
Okay.
It's dedicated to the bricks and mortar, to the programming of that. It's not about salaries. It's not about police cars. It's not about, it's all to support the bonds for the 3 police substations, to support our neighborhood policing strategy, a smaller downtown administrative headquarters, the new property warehouse, which will be out of on Municipal Hill, and then a crime lab out there also, as well as to renovate some space for the municipal court.
So I stand corrected.
Yeah, it's okay. Just want to make sure we've announced the location for the crime lab and the property warehouse, as well as the east substation. We think that maybe within the next 30 days we'll announce the location for the south substation. The planning's going on. We've hired the architect, local architect, as well as some guys from out of town that all they really do is police work. In fact, they were here last week, so that's very much full speed ahead.
Okay, so let's talk timetable and give me an idea of what these facilities are going to look like. We're thinking, this main headquarters that we've had forever here in Lubbock. That's not the plan.
No, it's not. So there'll be 3 similar substations. They'll be exactly the same footprint. They may look a little bit different on the outside. We're going to try to make sure they fit the neighborhoods they're in. We would imagine we'll probably have one contractor that'll build all 3. They'll start one, get to a certain point, then move that part of the crew that did the dirt work and the concrete work to the next site. And we think that's probably some efficiencies in that. I would imagine you'll see construction starting, let's say, first quarter of next year. I mean, I don't want to make it any more aggressive than that, but that was when we made this decision last December. We thought it would be a year of programming and planning before we would get started, and I think that's about where we'll end up.
At the last work session, there was talk about libraries.
Yes, there was.
You got to be real careful because they've got a pretty impressive group of supporters at the libraries. You're talking about what? I'd heard that maybe that there should be one central library. I mean, there's a lot of talk and a lot of ideas about what the future of libraries should look like.
And I think that's the discussion point. I think you nailed it. We had a great work session. We had lots of citizens show up. That's awesome. That's what it's supposed to be like. We will in October. We'll spend a half a day before both of our council meetings in October devoted to planning. One of the topics we'll talk about is what do our libraries look like in the future. We had a great briefing last week from both the library's board as well as the leadership of the library itself. We talked about usage. We talked about the trend lines. We talked about how they've tried to remake themselves. I believe that if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we always got. And libraries are, think about the way we get our information today. It's very different than 5, 10, 20 years ago. And so I think our planning is not necessarily around closing libraries. It's about making sure that our libraries they best serve our citizens going forward. So that's the discussion, and we'll talk about a number of other items in October, and we'll hopefully have a lot of citizens participate in that.
And one more facility where federal bucks come into play significantly, and that's the airport. And I know that there are plans to give it I don't know if it's a refit or just a remodel or just a fresher look. What do you want to do at the airport?
So we've already got one project going at the airport. That's the rental car, consolidated rental car facility. If you've been out there, you've noticed we've changed where the rental car parking is. It's much more convenient. We've got work going on out there. That's project 1. The second project, which will begin sometime close to the middle of next year, maybe a little before that, is a complete update of the airport. Significant. You remember the airport was built in the late 70s. It's before we had TSA. Things were very different. We'll relocate TSA. We won't have to drag our bags from the airline counter to a scanning area. We will probably end up with with all of the baggage claim on one end of the airport instead of having them separate on separate ends. It needs a full update. Remember that the airport does not take tax dollars. Okay, we get federal money back, but generally that's the money that comes from the PFC, the fees that we pay when we travel. So it's self-supporting. Now remember, we also get money from the airlines for the rental fees, so to speak, that they pay. We get rental fees from the fees from the rental car companies. There's a lot of that goes together, but that's not supported by tax dollars, and that work's exciting. The airport's the front door for our community to many people who visit Lubbock.
And right now, that front door goes all the way around the building if you try to get through TSA.
Yeah,
so that's going to work great.
I think it'll be it'll be a better experience for travelers, and I think it'll better represent us. We've got a great airport. I don't want to throw rocks at it. I travel a lot, and our airport's easy to get in and out of. It's spacious, but it's a bit dated.
You want to see dated, go to San Diego. Mayor, great seeing you. Appreciate the update on the facilities.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.